The boy was taken to the hospital, where it was discovered that he was severely malnourished and had deep lacerations from being tied up with rope.
You come in, my buddy. I'm a police officer.
Ruby Franke was the face behind the 8 Passengers YouTube channel, which started in 2015.
We're getting a glimpse into newly released videos showing the devastating moments after police encountered the children of disgraced YouTuber Ruby Franke.
Within a year, her videos had amassed tens of thousands of views. She told local news that filming her family helped her live in the present and just enjoy the kids.
I've never once forgotten to vlog. It's like forgetting to eat or forgetting to breathe. For me, picking up the camera and vlogging, it's like I would never forget to do that.
But things were different when the cameras were off, and no one could have expected it. This is the shocking case of Ruby Franke. Ruby's videos offered a glimpse into her life, showcasing a typical Mormon suburban family engaged in homeschooling, cooking, eating, and chatting together. However, some of her parenting moments sparked controversy. In one video, she threatened to withhold dinner as a punishment for her son's play fighting. In another, she insisted that her 6-year-old daughter needed to go hungry after forgetting her lunch at school, stating that it was a lesson in responsibility.
Her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch. I responded and just said Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry.
Despite criticism, the Frankes continued their strict parenting style, which they believe taught their children to be masters of themselves. In 2020, allegations of abuse against Franke surfaced after her son Chad revealed that he had lost his bedroom as punishment for pranking his brother and had been sleeping on a beanbag chair for 7 months.
Sleeping on a beanbag.
I'm sleeping on a beanbag since October.
Videos showed Franke using food as a form of punishment, such as withholding meals or threatening to take away the privilege of eating dinner. In one instance, she argued that her 6-year-old daughter should go hungry because she forgot her lunch at school. A TikTok video of old 8 Passengers footage showed Franke instructing her children and nephews to get in line to share a single banana. Franke can be heard saying, "I love that I can talk to my nephews that way." In 2020, after thousands of 8 Passengers viewers signed a petition calling for an investigation into Franke, Child Protective Services visited their home.
Can you just step out?
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
However, the case was closed as the claims were not substantiated. Franke defended herself in an interview.
I've been full-time. You wonder where I've been on my vlogs? You wonder why I left YouTube? It's to save my kids.
Stating that her children were given choices in everything and accusing critics of misinterpreting her videos. But troubles for her were just getting started. The controversy surrounding Franke marked the decline of the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. They went from posting daily videos to only 2 or 3 per week, and eventually stopped altogether before the channel was deleted. Despite the channel's end, Franke stayed active on social media. In June 2022, she started a new advice channel called Connections with her business partner and counselor Jodi Hildebrant. However, this new channel had a much smaller audience compared to 8 Passengers. Franke once said that the venture helped her earn millions.
I was making millions.
But she left that behind to focus on her children. Franke and Hildebrand now share an Instagram account called Moms of Truth.
Hello and welcome back to Moms of Truth with Jodi and Ruby,
where they offer parenting advice. But when the authorities looked into them, they found that they were the worst people to be teaching anyone about parenting. Hildebrand, Franke's business partner, was also accused of child abuse by her niece Jodi Hildebrant.
No, I'm not going to step out of
Step out of the house. Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just gonna be off phone.
Wait a minute, how do you come in my house?
She alleged in a KUTV interview on September 11 that her aunt had abused her for about a year.
I experienced severe isolation. I experienced severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse.
And she was a teenager. According to Jodi, the abuse occurred over a decade ago and was similar to the reported details about Franke's children. Jodi alleged that while living with Jodi, she experienced being tied up, duct taped, blindfolded, and subjected to severe isolation and emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse.
I experienced being tied, duct tape, blindfolded, severe isolation.
She also claimed Jodi told her she shouldn't be around other people and that she was dangerous, leading Jessie to fear herself. Jessie decided to speak out after reading about Franke's claims of abuse within her family, noting that the patterns and methods described by Franke were familiar to her.
But the things that she is saying and regurgitating are very, very familiar to me.
She also mentioned she would be isolated for over 12 hours a day and sometimes even made to sleep outside in the snow. Yet, she avoided all authorities her entire life. But people like this can't exactly hide forever. In late August in Utah, a 12-year-old boy covered in wounds sought help from a neighbor, asking for food and water. He had just escaped from a nearby home by climbing out a window, still with duct tape on his ankles, according to police.
Young boy climbing out of a window and rushing to a neighbor for help.
911, the address of your emergency. Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his leg, he's hungry, and he's thirsty.
The boy was taken to the hospital, where it was discovered that he was severely malnourished and had deep lacerations from being tied up with rope. Shortly after, police found Franke's 10-year-old daughter in a similar state of malnourishment inside Hildebrant's home. In total, 4 children were taken into care, and Franke was arrested. A neighbor who had lived near the Franke family for about 5 years mentioned noticing red flags that prompted other families in their affluent religious neighborhood to contact authorities before Franke's arrest. "I think we saw some strange things," the neighbor said, requesting anonymity. "But I don't think anyone thought that these kids were being physically abused to that extent." Franke and Hildebrant were arrested on child abuse charges in August 2023 after Franke's 12-year-old son, who appeared emaciated, knocked on a neighbor's door asking for help. Police took the 12-year-old and 2 older siblings into custody. About a week later, both Franke and Hildebrant were charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse, while Franke pleaded guilty
To believe and behave this paranoia culminated into criminal activity for which I stand before you today ready to take accountability.
Hildebrand's attorney has not indicated whether she will take a similar plea deal. Franke received 4 separate prison sentences of 1 to 15 years, which will run consecutively, with a maximum of 30 years due to Utah's law regarding consecutive sentences. The length of each sentence will be decided by the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole.
Sincerely love these children. I desire for them to heal physically and emotionally.
Hildebrand also received the same sentence as Franke.
Utah Code Section 76-3401 lays out 3 factors the court should consider in determining whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences.
In late November, Kevin officially filed for divorce from Ruby. According to court records, Kevin filed a divorce petition, which is sealed under Utah law. A domestic relations injunction was also filed, ordering both Ruby and Kevin not to harass each other or disparage the other in front of their children. Kevin's lawyer Randy Castor later stated that Kevin had no role in the abuse allegations and described him as a good person. Castor mentioned that the Frankes had been living in separate homes for the past 13 months and that he had nothing to do with the abuse. However, seeing the state of the children, it's possible that he wasn't totally oblivious to what was going on either. But so far, he's in the clear with the law, with Ruby Franke taking the entire blame for what happened. If you found this video interesting, please show your support by liking, turning the bell notification on, and subscribing to our channel for more content. Until next time, take care.